We did not choose this war, but we must win it, say Vlada and Kostyantyn Liberov, the renowned Ukrainian husband and wife duo of war photographers, known together as Libkos. They work with armed forces of Ukraine, capturing the grim realities of war and risking their lives to document ordinary people performing heroic deeds while standing against the enemy. We're honored to have Vlada and Kostyantyn with us in the studio. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for inviting. It's an honor for us, actually.
It's really important for us.
So could you first tell us what you're doing in Warsaw?
Well, we came here to have kind of public talk and maybe an auction for fundraising for Ukrainian people.
And I know you don't like it, but you are celebrities in Ukraine. Why you don't like to be called celebrities?
Because we're not a celebrity, we're just photographer, and we don't like this war. We don't like to take a photo of war, and when we know from this, it's strange for us.
Okay.
It's not something we were looking for, searching for. So we just started to make photos of what's happening, documenting what's happening in our country, and then once people started to recognize us in the street, so it never was things that we were trying to do for, and so that's why we never realize ourselves as celebrities or something.
Yeah. So you were not seeking this war, obviously, and before the war you were a wedding, a really well-established wedding photographers. So you were capturing love, and now you're capturing war. Are there any skills that you took from your previous life into taking photographs now?
Maybe it's another skills, but for the full escalation we take a picture of emotions of people, and now our main focus is emotions of people. It's bad emotions, and maybe now we can die.
Yeah. Well, you are incredibly brave, and there are these moments where you would spend up to 30 hours in trenches with a battalion. So what motivates you to risk your life?
Well, we live in our country, and in Ukraine, all the people we say that you must be in the armed forces or for the armed forces. So we're bad fighters, bad medicines, bad doctors. But I think we're good at photography, so it's important for us to gather the biggest archive of the things happening in our country for the new generations, so they will remember what kind of terrible thing this war was when it will finish.
So how do you keep your mental health intact? What do you do? In one of your posts you were saying on Instagram that you like looking at your phone look at the photographs before the war. Is there anything else that you do? Psychologist, psychotherapy is a thing that it's great stuff, not just for war photographers in Ukraine, for all the Ukrainians that live in Ukraine now. It's really, really important, I think. Also, we just go for a walk, talk to each other. For example, today we almost do not use the taxi. We just go in Warsaw kilometers, and that's something that makes us calm, Yeah, and those emotions, and you said that you're taking that sensitivity of wedding photography into your current work. These emotions, is there any groups or series of photos that you're particularly proud of that show these emotions?
So, actually, it's sometimes it's hard for us to talk about our favorite photos, because none of them can be favorite, because lots of them there's almost even even the good emotions at war are still emotions at war. So we would be happy if none of these photos ever exist. So it would mean that there is no war in our country. But yes, for example, photos when when Ukrainian soldiers come back from Russian captivity, these are it's an incredibly hard emotion to be here, just stand there with them, because you see the people who came from terrible circumstances. When you have an honor to be there, to pick these moments for history, for us it's also really important emotions.
Yeah, and do you feel, so the last photos, you have, you know, over 6,000 photos on Getty, and the last ones that show these amazing feelings were the burial of the young 23-year-old soldier. Can you tell us a bit more about those feelings that you had whilst photographing it?
Maybe it's one of the hardest for us to take a photo. Because, for example, I hate to take pictures like this, because it's really too hard.
To make photos of funerals, it's something that we do hate, because it's really hard to be there. And even if you do not know this person, and if we talk about this guy, this 23-year-old guy, Stefan, we didn't know him. We never used to know him, but anyway, you see a young guy who gave his life for us can live, you know, and it always feels like a huge debt that you could never pay, because it's impossible. So,
and those photos, those stunning photos, it looks like we're flying with you over the land. We see the scorched trees, we see broken houses. How do you take these photos?
Kostya and I, as documentary photographers, decided to use drones as a way to show destroyed cities, you know, as one organism. So it's like there's no details here. You can see any like small details, but you see the whole city as something like one, and which is totally destroyed. And for us, it's also a very important way to show like it's in perspective, you know.
Yeah.
We have collections of same photo from one city, two city, and it looks totally same. So Russia is do our Ukrainian city, it's same destroyed.
Yes, it's something that we also have to say that you know, all the cities, all the Ukrainian cities are different. They have different souls, they have different tempos, different architecture sometimes. But Russia and this war makes them all the same. They are all the same. And it's terrible to see it, how they become more and more and more similar. For example, now it's something that city of Pokrovsk is surviving, like today, like this moment. It was a very important city. It is a very important city for Ukrainians, for the Donetsk region, for our logistics. And now it like feels the same, all the same scenario as other Ukrainian destroyed cities, and it's terrible.
And you know, you have this very clear mission, as you just said, of bringing the awareness to the ongoing struggle. But there are also other aspects of Ukrainian life now in a war that you're showing us. For instance, by photographing people with the heroes with you know, disabilities, people struggling on wheelchairs, you bringing attention to well, what you're trying to do to achieve with those photos.
You know, it's like the opposite missions. When we like pick up the drone, we want to, there's no details, like, yes, but we would say, show something like in common, yes? And there's the opposite mission, like to show that the war is, it's always people who have and who had their own lives, which were destroyed or completely changed. One more thing that I think is important for us is to show that, like, for example, not all of our Ukrainian cities were prepared for thousands, well, dozens and thousands of people with heart injuries. So the question of inclusivity in Ukraine, it's really important question. And when we show the stories of those guys who lost their hands, legs, maybe eyes on this war, it's important to show to the Ukrainian society that it's like, we have to make our cities and we have to make our lives more prepared and more comfortable for these people.
Yeah. And you were very honest, you know, just like you know, honest and raw with your emotions about the beginnings of your careers as your journey as a war correspondent. And you said that there were sort of mistakes made to begin with. You were accused of staging photos. Do you remember those beginnings? Were there any other difficulties?
We never made like staging photos.
Of course.
We never did something like this, but yes, the way that we become documentary photographers, we had to learn a lot. We had to, and we learned a lot from our colleagues, from colleagues not just from Ukraine and from other cities, also from Poland. There are a lot of great documentary photographers from Poland whom we follow and whose photos taught us, and it's was really important for us.
And finally, one last question. Do you have a plan? Do you have a dream for when the war will end? What are your dreams for the future?
The first joke, we want to be not die in this war.
Okay.
We want to be alive.
Yes.
And we want to take something with remember, maybe. З запам'ятуванням.
He means that we want to do something related to the politics of memory in our country, because it's really important, as we said before, for future generations to remember what Ukrainians survived, and always remember what Russians did to us, even if future generations, maybe in 100 years, I don't know, could have the power to forgive them, but they still have to remember. Even if they forgive, they have to remember what they did. We, as documentary photographers, I think it's our mission to show them, to capture in history what happened. And if to say about the dream, well, you know, one day we dreamed to make great photos of the Victory Day. It was in 2022. In 2023, we dreamed to make great photos of the day when the war ends. And now, I don't know, can't even imagine what kind of day it will be. I mean that maybe the day it will finish in our country, I don't think it will feel as a happy day, you know, because so many people will lose so many people, so many good people, so many important people. So I don't think that it will be something that we will feel as a holiday, you know.
Okay. Well, Vlada and Kostyantyn, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and hopefully thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting.
And
it was
thank you for all Polish who support Ukrainian, because with your support it's impossible to fight with Russians. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that was Pulse of Culture, and I'm Karolina Shapland.